I remember the way they looked at me. The sneers, the dismissive smirks, the pointed laughs. Like I was some foolish child clinging to a childish dream. "You're wasting your life," my father told me, his voice cold and sharp as a knife. "You're an embarrassment to this family. No one in our bloodline has ever done something so ridiculous. Give it up before you ruin yourself." My mother shook her head, her eyes full of pity, not admiration. My siblings, those who once promised they'd stand by me, simply rolled their eyes or turned away. They told me my dream was a joke, a fantasy that would crumble beneath the weight of reality. They said I was delusional, that I'd never amount to anything, that I should come home, give up, and start over, because I was wasting my time chasing shadows. But I couldn't stop. I felt it deep inside, an unshakable fire, a calling that refused to be ignored. I knew I was meant for something more. So I gathered my courage and left that house, that family, that small town that doubted me. I poured everything I had into my passion, into my art, my craft, my vision. I worked tirelessly, often sleeping in my car, scraping together every penny. There were days I wanted to give up, when the world seemed to conspire against me, when rejection letters piled up, when my own doubts threatened to drown me. But I remembered their words. "You're a failure. You're an embarrassment." And I used those words as fuel. Years passed. I found my voice as a painter, a game developer, a creator with a soul. My work spoke for itself. Slowly, the tides turned. My name started to make waves. Exhibitions, awards, recognition from the industry that once dismissed me. I poured my pain, my struggle, my unwavering belief into every piece. I became someone I could be proud of. And finally, I achieved what I once thought impossible. I made it big, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually. I had proved that dreams, no matter how absurd they seemed, could become reality if you had the courage to chase them. Then came the day I returned home. I drove up the familiar winding road that led to my childhood house, my heart pounding, not with fear, but with a quiet anticipation. I knew they would see me now, in my success, in my vitality, in my truth. I parked outside and stepped out, feeling the weight of years on my shoulders. The house looked the same, yet somehow smaller, more fragile, as if time had chipped away at the place I once called home. As I entered, the silence was deafening. My family was gathered in the living room. My father, mother, siblings, all staring at me as if I were a ghost. I could see the shame flicker in their eyes, the doubt buried deep beneath the veneer of politeness. They had no idea I was coming. To them, I was still that kid who dared to dream big and was told to shut up. Then I took a step forward and revealed what I had become. I carried a portfolio, my latest works, under my arm. I opened it slowly, letting them see the paintings that had sold for thousands. The game I had developed that was now played by millions. The recognition I'd earned through relentless perseverance. The room fell silent. My father's jaw tightened and his eyes widened in disbelief. My mother's hands trembled as she looked at the images I had poured my soul into. My siblings, once so dismissive, stared in stunned silence. Do you see what your doubt, your mockery, your words almost destroyed? But I refused to let them define me. I chased my dream and I made it real, despite you, because I believed in myself. The weight of those words hung in the air. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then my father, with a voice hoarse and strained, whispered, "I never thought you'd make it." And I responded, "Neither did I. But I didn't need your approval. I needed to believe in myself. That's the only validation worth having." They looked at me differently then, not as the foolish dreamer they once mocked, but as someone who had transformed pain into purpose, rejection into resilience. In that quiet, profound moment, I realized something vital. The greatest victory wasn't the fame, the fortune, or the recognition. It was reclaiming my worth, proving that no one could define me but myself. Years ago, they told me I was a failure, that I was an embarrassment. Today, I stand before them as proof that dreams, true, honest dreams, are worth fighting for, no matter how impossible they seem. The universe has its way of balancing the scales, of delivering justice not through revenge, but through the undeniable truth of perseverance and faith in oneself. As I turned to leave, I looked back at my family, their faces a mixture of awe and regret. I understood then that karma had delivered its verdict, an unspoken acknowledgement that I had become what they once deemed impossible. I had become whole. I had become free. Walking away from that house, I carried a peace I'd never known before. My journey was a testament to the truth that sometimes the greatest victory is not in the reaching, but in a resilience, holding on to your purpose when everything seems to conspire against you. I had learned that our greatest challenge is not the world's rejection, but our own doubts. And I had triumphed over both. Now I share this story not just to boast, but to remind everyone listening, never let anyone's words define your worth. Chase your dream with every fiber of your being. Because in the end, the universe favors those who believe enough to fight, and in that fight, you find your true self.